Welcome back to Metal Heroes Review, episode 61. Yes, once again, we're second episode in a row. We're reviewing just two episodes of Spielban, episodes 3 and 4. Hopefully tomorrow I can do more than two. It's just that time-wise, basically, I don't have time to watch two more. Because in about about an hour from now, I'm going out to eat. And when I get back, I'm probably going to go ahead and watch that time we're going to slime when I get back. Let's talk about these two episodes. So, in the case of 3 and 4, these are quite interesting. Because, of course, basically, the whole thing with 3 is that, okay, so Dr. Bio is trying to convince his daughter that she should work for the Walthall Empire. She's like, no. So he just leaves without locking her cell door. So she proceeds to escape, and she wants to go see her brother because she loves her. Not romantically. No. It's basically simple enough. And of course, basically, Spielban on patrol, and he just happens to come across her. Of course, he gets to her location, and she's already gone. That's because she's been recaptured by the Walthall Empire. We'll get back to that. So, aside from that, and of course fighting the monster of the episode, which is another robot. Yes, it's another robot. No surprise there, is because it's the series, so I'm not all that surprised about that. I'm fine with it. It's basically the robot that showed up at the end of episode number 2, Mecha Shocker. Yes. Yeah, and after this episode, he's destroyed. Oh, and the way that Spielban, I forgot to mention, how does he destroy them? Well, he destroys them by first stabbing them and then slice them in half like the Space Sheriffs did with all their signature moves. Because, from I heard, the writer of the show, let's see if I can find his name here. The guy who's the head writer of the show, apparently this was the 5th series he did. Yep, he did. Yeah, this actually was his last one he worked on. His name is Shuzo Urihira. Yes, he worked on pretty much he pretty much helmed, basically, kind of in the way he was a head writer for Gavin, for Shervan. He basically wrote a head writer for every episode of Snyder. He did Jaspion and Spielban. Spielban was the last one he worked on. He did do one episode of Metallica. He did episode 10. The violent episode. I love the episode. It was so good. He even wrote the movies for Snyder. The 2 movies that Snyder had. Snyder the movie. And Snyder to Pursue the Strange Kidnappers. Yeah, he wrote both movies for Snyder. Yep. So kind of in a way, I've covered almost this guy's whole career for Metal Heroes, with the exception of basically Jaspion. He's no longer alive because he passed away in January 2020. You're thinking, oh crap, 2020, did he die of COVID? No, lung cancer. Okay. And of course also, that apparently he also worked on Super Sentai. Yes, he actually has worked on some series I've seen. He was the head writer for Go Ranger, the very first Super Sentai, Jacques, Battlefield J, Denziman, Sun Vulcan, and I think after Sun Vulcan, that's when he moved over to Metal Heroes. And then he came back wrote some episodes of O Ranger. He also wrote the movie, Go Ranger, Bomb Hurricane, the Go Ranger for Jack movie, the movies for Denziman, Sun Vulcan, and O Ranger. He wrote all of those. So, yeah, I'm looking at all this. I'm pretty much done with his stuff he did for Sentai. Kamen Rider, he just did some episodes of Black. He did Black's movie and J, which, yes, I've got all of that. Apparently, the guy's earliest work is that he apparently worked on Ultraman. So, still gotta work on basically stuff for. I would say after I finish watching this series, well, I got one more left to go, and then pretty much basically, well, you gotta admit, I think probably the reason why some of the stuff in the show is so familiar to me is because the same guy wrote it. That's pretty much basically the whole thing with that. Also, they do explain in episode 3 of how in the world Spielban has got separated from him. So, in this flashback, they explain this episode 3, mind you, where where the Wolfhard forces basically broke into Spielban's home, took his father and his sister because they apparently wanted basically Ben, that's basically Spielban's father, they wanted his talents to work for them. And they took his daughter too. And I found that interesting. Like, why would you take him and one of his children? So, it's like, okay. So that kind of explains how she got there. And when she comes back, and after, of course, being the monster, the end of the episode has Dr. Bio hitting a button and having Helen become Helvina. Basically, kind of like an evil basically an evil warrior with this I love the suit they gave Helvina, which, yes, they reused pretty much the same suit for Girls in Trouble with new versions of the character, because one thing I at least appreciated about the movie that led into, which was Gavin versus Deca Ranger, is that these weren't the same characters in the original show. These were successors. I kind of wish that was the same thing with the Success movie, but no. It's implied it's the same characters by the fact that the Ninja is recognized Jiraiya. So, she becomes Helvina in the end of the episode, and she works honorably she's loyal to the Wolf Empire. So, so then we have the Wolf Fortress, which is this flying ship they have as a base of operations. They land in this lake, and the whole thing is, okay, we can't have Spielban find out we're here, so let's stay here for a bit, probably recharge, and to distract them, send a Helvina to kill him. Yes, send his sister to kill him. He doesn't know Helvina. By the end of the episode, he does not know Helvina is actually Helen. So he fights her, and then she kind of just goes off. Like, basically, her head starts getting woozy, and then she comes back into Helen. And, of course, Queen Pandora basically asks the obvious question, like, wait, why is she transferred back into Helen? And Dr. Bao points out, though, this. She's not a robot. She is a sort of someone with biotechnology in her. She basically was sort of retrofitted with the stuff to transform into Helvina. She needs time to recharge. And I appreciate Queen Pandora not berating him for that. Because even she realized, though, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, she didn't have an issue with it. Basically, their deity had no issue with it at all. So, then throughout the episode, of course, Spielban sees her a couple times. At one point, she's given a gun by the spies of the group, and she tries to kill Spielban, and she just throws the gun into Spielban, sees, like, oh crap, it's his sister. He runs to find her, but at one point, he actually has Dinah meet Dagora, the genius inventor, despite I guess that doesn't work. So, then of course, basically, like, he fights her again. Of course, he fights not a robot of the episode, yes. 4 is the first one not to feature an actual robot. Which, like, that's interesting. Yeah, that's quite interesting. That was the 4. The whole episode, he does not fight, well, a monster. Well, basically a biomechanoid. At the end of the episode, we debut a brand new monster. Well, basically, Mecha Processor. Yes. Who debuts at the end of this very episode. Which, by the way, does this thing pop up in VR Troopers? Yes, it does. It pops up in episode 5. Yep. In the episode Battle of Books. Yep. But overall, I like these 2 episodes, and I can't wait to discuss the remaining episodes. At this point, I have I'm like 4 down, and I think it's let's see, 4 down and 40 left overall before I go on my break. I have exactly, well, it might change, depends on my mood, but as of right now, it's 26 episodes left to go before I go on my break. Yep. But yeah, that's particularly a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do hit the like button. Next up, we have is a comic corner. Yep, next view. Bye.